Hey everyone. So a gentleman took his own life recently, a few days ago, and the internet has been awash with all manner of messages. People are shocked, people are scared, people are shaken because he was a very upstanding person in the community. His siblings are very upstanding people in the community, and people are asking all kinds of questions and putting out all kinds of thoughts around what could have happened and giving tips and bits on what could have or should have been done. And for me, as a person who is so passionate about mental wellness, I have wanted to share about suicide for a long time, but for one reason or another, I've held back. And I feel like if I continue to do that, one, I do myself and the society a disservice, because I feed into the narrative that people are not speaking up or people need to talk. And then also, I want to encourage people to also come and tell, let's talk, let's make this conversation normal, because the number of people who are struggling, the number of people who are attempting, who are thinking about suicide is so incredibly high that by the time we see one person taking their life and actually succeeding in taking their life, we have to understand that there is hundreds and thousands who are standing behind saying, oh, if that person could do it, I possibly can, or, something along those lines. So I thought I should come out and speak. And the reason why I particularly want to speak is that every time this happens, it's like we go through another cycle. But for me, the cycles are not showing a whole lot of growth. The growth in terms of awareness is not proportionate to the cases, is not proportionate to the increase in the attempted suicides or the people who are thinking about it. And when I see the things that people say whenever it happens, it really speaks to the lack of growth or improvement in awareness. Some comments that people make that really get me is, one of them is, mental health is real. Every time there is a situation where a person either is dealing with a mental health problem or challenge that has caused them to expose themselves in a way that shocks people, or someone has taken their life, people come out and say, oh my God, mental health is real, mental health is real. And it makes me think, did we think it's not real? Are we still sitting around not yet convinced that it is real? Even the words that we're using, mental health is real. What does that really mean? When somebody has malaria, we don't say, when someone has died of cancer, when someone has died, people don't say physical health is real. So even the word alone, mental health is real, doesn't make sense, because mental health is just health of the mind. So to say health of the mind is real doesn't make sense. So we lump the sickness with the wellness. And when we say it's real, it simply means that we have not yet grasped what the meaning of mental unwellness is. And we have not yet understood how it manifests, so that when we see it, we're able to say, oh, that is just a person going through a challenge. So that is one comment that is so common everywhere, people saying, mental health is real, mental health is real. And it is a sign that we have not yet understood what it is. Then people often come out and say, but if you're struggling, guys, if you're struggling, come out and speak. Do you really think they're not speaking? They speak every day. The thing is that we don't listen. And we don't listen for so many reasons. One, because we don't understand. So we cannot even fathom what the person is trying to say beyond what is simple in our minds. So when we continue to say speak, we have to ask, are we listening when they speak? Do we give them the time of day when they come to us and speak? Then we say, you should know that you're not alone. Really? Aren't they alone? when we are going through issues, aren't we alone? Because who else is talking about the issue? Who else is saying, I'm here, is there anyone who's feeling like this? Can you come and we talk? Or I went through this situation and I've come out of it. Oh my God, if there's anyone else who's out there, come, let's talk. So for as long as we go through something and we keep quiet, then we continue to send out a message to the world to say, if you have it, keep quiet. Yes, they feel like they're alone because you are not speaking, because I am not speaking, because no one is normalizing it. And when it happens, then we come out with all our wisdom and say, they should have spoken. Oh my God, why some people are weak. Now we don't say weak very much, but we say people think that, you go into your space, you don't want to share. We make it about them. No, it's about us. It is about us. We cannot distance ourselves from what they are going through, because mental health is a relational thing. Health of the mind is purely a relational thing. And if we're not able to speak, that speaks to the quality of the relations that we're having. If they are not speaking, they being the ones who we perceive to be the ones that are not well, if they are not speaking, then it is about us. It means we are not really listening, because it's the reciprocity of the communication. People like to say, think about your family. They should think about their family. They should think about the deeper impact of what they're going to do or what they have done. But who is thinking about the person? If we take this particular individual, for example, there is a message that he sent, a very heartbreaking message that he sent on the family WhatsApp group. He actually said he loves them. He was thinking about them. And he sent a message to his nieces and nephews. So he was thinking about them. But he was also thinking about the deep pain and emptiness, or whatever it is that he was dealing with, that overrode how much he loved the other people. He loved them so much that he said, I'm sorry. I cannot anymore. And I hope you find it in your heart to forgive me. That is love. That is love. He spoke from a place of love. When they leave a note, they're saying, guys, I love you, but I have to leave you. I love you, but it is too much now. And I was talking to my daughter before this happened. I was talking to my daughter and saying, just saying, if you ever feel, because suicide is interesting. You may think that it's not going to happen to you. But when you find yourself in that tight spot, you become that person who you've been talking about. You become that person who you've been saying, speak up, speak up. And now you understand. So I say to my daughter, if you ever feel that emptiness, if you ever feel like you want to leave, if you ever feel like the walls of life are crashing in too much and you want to leave, just speak to me. Just speak up. And she said, I understand, Mommy. But she said, the thing is that when you talk to people who are struggling with depression, they always feel like they are a burden. And so that is the reason why they don't speak up as much as they do. They feel like they are a burden. And I said, that is true. That is true. And that same evening, I see this message and I read the message. I see the message about the suicide, and I read a message where the person is saying, I have been a burden in life and I am a burden in death. But it is still not going to stop me because the pain needs to stop, or whatever it is that he was feeling needed to stop. So we should not say, think about other people. We should for a moment stop and think about how deep their pain was. That it was not enough that they had, if someone had a child, if someone had a spouse, it was not enough. And loving people around them, it was not enough. That's why they leave a note to say, I'm sorry. And I hope you can find it in yourselves to forgive this act, because I know it is deep, it is dark, it is unforgivable. But I hope you find it in your hearts to forgive me. So let's not think about ourselves. Let's think about that person and their pain. Then there are those who say, you know, suicide is a sin. We've been told it's a sin, but I very strongly disagree. I very strongly disagree, because God is a God of love. The God that I know and serve is a God of love. And He sees the pain that this person is going through. Even if He has sent people to help this person, maybe this person is in so deep they don't see. Maybe this person is in so deep that even God cannot get through. Because God loves everybody. And it doesn't matter how deep and dark this person is. God loves them. We're told that He is love. So this gentleman, for example, was a nice person. People have such good things to say about him. He was jolly. You know, he's done such phenomenal work in the marketing space, especially digital marketing. He's worked with very prominent organizations, and he's well loved. He's well loved. So if human beings love him that much, didn't God love him? Didn't God see his pain? Didn't God try to get through? Did God fail to get through? And these, for me, are the answers that we need to be thinking about. I'm a person who asks why of every situation. And the more you ask why, the more you start to understand that there's no single way. There's no one way. There is no one way. There are several ways. But sometimes we are in a space where even those several ways we do not see. We're in so deep, we do not see. And you know what? It is okay. It is okay. We have to understand that it is okay. Sometimes people walk a certain path and they just do not see anymore, regardless of what we do. We just have to come back and sit with that truth, and now try and find our own healing. Talk about it as families. When it has happened, don't sit back and say, you know, the pain is too much, we don't know how to talk. You have to find a way. You have to craft that way that you can sit down and talk. Because only in the talking can you start to see one another, can you start to heal one another, can you start to heal the wider community. So for me, these questions, these comments, these words that we put out are very telling. And we have to sit back. When the dust settles, we have to ask ourselves, have we learned anything from this? Have we learned anything from this and all the other cases that we've had? What are we saying? But what are we feeling? Somebody said to me, is it a money issue? But he had money, so? And I said, when we don't have money, when our money issues sometimes are so deep, we think that when somebody has money, then that's it. Why should they want to, to take their own lives when they have money? Why should they want to take their own lives when they have a wife and children? Why do they want to take their own lives when they just recently got an award for something? So we think from our perspective, and we judge based on where we are. We judge based on what we have overcome, and we judge based on what we are struggling with. But everybody is different. You could have all the money in the world, you could have all the good friends, all the happiness, but still be empty. So we have to acknowledge people where they are, acknowledge what they're struggling with, and just come back to us. Everything is about us. Come back to us and say, what is this teaching me? What is it telling me? And once we've asked those questions, then we have to go back and say, can I do better? Do I do better? Did I do better today? We have to ask ourselves, am I approachable? Before I say they should talk, before we go out and say, why didn't you talk? Why didn't they speak up? Why didn't they, talk to somebody? You have to ask, why didn't they come to me? Am I approachable? Whoever is suffering in my circles, am I approachable? Can they come? Do they feel like they can trust that they can talk to me? Not so much because I'm going to tell the next person, but do they feel like they can offload on me and I will not make them feel like there's something wrong with them? So we have to ask ourselves, am I approachable? When somebody does come to speak to you about anything, or to me or to us about anything, do we fully give them our time? Do you switch your phone off? Do you put your phone away? Do you listen? Or do you say, oop, there's an important message. There's something I'm trying to coordinate. So forgive me if I keep going off and answering my phone. Because we have to understand that it's hard for them to say what they want to say. But they have now been driven by the pain, by the frustration to say, I want to come and speak. But do we listen? Do we give them an open space to speak, even for an hour, before we can interject? Are we careless with our words and emotions? On other social media groups? Because when we are not being seen, when the spotlight is not on us, we're having a conversation on a group, we say things, we speak truth, we throw missiles out on this WhatsApp group about other people who are going through things. And we forget that somebody on that group could be struggling and could want to come out and speak that day. But the trash that is being said on that group makes them realize that they cannot trust anybody there, because they are actually they are the person that we are laughing at. They are the person that we are talking about. They are the person that we describe. So they know that nobody on that group is a safe space for them to speak. So we have to understand these things so that when we are speaking on any group, when we are carrying ourselves every day, when we come back home before we sleep, we have to think, did I do good today? If somebody needed someone to speak to, can I be the one? If someone is going through something difficult, can I see them? Can I signal them from the things that they're saying or not saying? So that we start to understand our part in the puzzle, our role. What is my piece in this person's life? How can I support them just by existing? I hope this helps us. Look out for part 2. I'm going to put out a series of videos, and hopefully I can help people, if nothing else, just start to have this conversation more frequently. Thank you.